Today on Aging Untold, part-time home care can be a lifeline if you plan it right.
Start small and start early.
We'll show you how to build a smart schedule, set clear tasks, and avoid surprise costs. Plus, the pressures of aging aren't always physical, they're mental too.
Let some things go.
We'll examine why life can feel heavier with age and how to ease the load. And one mom turned heartbreak into hope for children facing tough medical battles.
Life is hard sometimes, and but if you get caught up in the hard part, you'll miss it.
How her daughter's legacy is helping other kids and their parents find light in the tough moments. Experts with advice and solutions. You're watching Aging Untold with Aging Well Coach Catherine Ambrose, gerontologist Sam Craddock, aging expert Amy O'Rourke, and board-certified physician Dr. Ray Rogers. We're all getting older. It's about time we talked about it.
Welcome to Aging Untold. Part-time help at home sounds simple until real life doesn't line up with the hours you've booked. Making it work takes a plan, prioritizing the right task, keeping routines consistent, and asking the right questions up front. Sam, when a family is setting up part-time care, where do you suggest they start?
Start small. Do not go out there and throw all your pennies out in care that you're not going to need yet. But start small and start early. Try and get care established, get your loved one used to having someone come in and help, and then expand. But don't plan, if your person sleeps until 9 a.m., don't have a caregiver show up at 8. You're paying for an hour for them to be there bird dogging. If they're napping after lunch and they're okay and safe to be alone, don't pay for that time. And talk to an agency that will accommodate minimum amount of hours and see what their minimums are. Lots of agencies will do a 3 or 4 hour, or get a private person that'll do less. But don't try and go out there and think that you got to have an 8-hour day.
Should families expect resistance? Oftentimes.
Always. Always.
That's a given.
You know, it's kind of
it's
funny.
normal.
Yes,
how
it's
many
normal.
of us would love to have somebody come in and clean and cook for us? We would love to.
I would.
But when you right. I mean, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
And
I would
drive me.
and drive me and take care of me. But when it becomes a need instead of a want, then that position changes. So then I become resistant because the idea of having somebody come in and help me says I can't help myself.
Right.
And so you have to establish that first. You have to get over that hump.
Yeah.
I would also say we look so much at what are the hours that I need, and maybe first start off with the non-negotiables and what are your needs, and maybe not necessarily the hours. What is it that I really need, and then expand from there,
Right.
so that you don't overdo it.
Right.
No, I think it's true. And if you try to start with an older person that's resistant anyway with 8 hours, it's a recipe for not working. It's just not going to work. The thing that you said about finding part-time workers, some companies will really specialize and have a part-time group of people, because sometimes if you hire the wrong company and they have part-time people but there's high turnover because the people work part-time and they want to go to full-time. So if that happens and there's not a company that's in your area that specializes or has a little cadre of part-time workers, be really careful about having a clear job description. So if the person changes, the older person doesn't have to work so hard at saying, no, I like my coffee hot, or no, please put the sheet over my bed, please tie my sheet. Like, they don't
And when
have
you
to
have
work
all
so
those
hard.
people changing, that's confusing for the person
It's
too.
very
I mean,
confusing.
they're like,
It's very
And
confusing.
Always. Continuity of care is paramount in this industry.
Yeah.
And so make sure that you get with a company or with someone that understands how important that continuity is.
That's right.
And then plan your care around, like you said, what you need. So if they're missing their meds, then you have the caregiver there during med time.
right.
If they're not eating well, have them there during mealtime.
Yeah. And don't miss the opportunity to say, maybe it's the first conversation about having help, and say, all right, what time would you want them to start?
There you go.
Get that buy-in of, okay, now I want. And the other thing I think about, if you have long-term care insurance, this is a great way to start that long-term care insurance clock, you know?
Yeah.
So many people do not access their long-term care insurance, and if you start part-time, you can look forward to getting your care paid for through that policy.
Right.
Because a lot of the companies is very hard on the part-time. You have to have a minimum number of hours.
Well,
And
there's
so
often an elimination period, so you have to start paying on your own for X number of days before the policy kicks in. So lots of them will be 60, 90 days that you have to have care established and paying for it.
Right.
So if you can get that part-time, maybe it's once a week for a few hours. But I always say one task, one day, one time. And so start it that way and try and always have one person. Get your person used to having somebody come in and help.
Who could people talk to about evaluating a long-term care policy so they know exactly what's covered and how it works?
Well, okay, so there's several options because every policy is so different. You can't count on one policy being, all the policies are not the same. You can use an aging life care manager to read your policy. There's people out there that specialize in insurance. You can try to read it yourself. People go to an attorney to try to get them. They don't really know long-term care insurance, but get as much preparation ahead of time about what the policy requires, and never, ever, ever let that person be evaluated without someone else present. So, in addition to that, Sam, I'm sure you did this too, there's a premium visit. Like I've had people say, I just want care for an hour. You can't get anybody to work for an hour, but a premium visit, like doing a 3-hour or doing like a shorter visit, you pay a little bit more to get a shorter bit of time just to get your foot in the door.
Yeah. A lot of agencies will have like a 3 or 4 hour minimum already. So, and I know I did. Mine was a 2. Now, if you're dealing with somebody that has any kind of a memory impairment when you're establishing that care, you're going to have some issues. You're probably going to have more resistance, but it's more important to go ahead and get it established now while they can adjust to having somebody in.
Right.
And then that continuity of care becomes all the more important. That same person, same time, same regular routine.
Right.
It would have helped my family if I would have known that it's normal to have your parents resist rather than think, oh, well, Dawn and Dee aren't going to want people to come into the house. And if I just knew that, oh, this is normal, and it's something that we can learn how to handle, handle those conversations.
It's not normal for someone to say, yeah, come on, take over my care. No, I love it.
I mean, I would love you to come in and do mine.
I know.
Well, I think, but you have to also remember, just because we have the option to do it ourselves, they are losing that option. So
That's right.
So that's a fear.
This is hanging on for dear life.
Still ahead, you may look young, but your heart could be older than your birth certificate.
What we are doing these days is to use this information to motivate people to change behavior.
We'll explain how AI can flag risks early and what you can do to turn your heart age around. But first, growing older doesn't always mean life slows down. For a lot of people, it means more pressure.
People don't realize just how complex an aged person's life becomes.
We'll show you what's driving that mental load and ways to lighten it.
A lot of people think aging means life slows down, but for some, it's more mentally exhausting than ever. It's constant decisions, health management, and family worries, plus the quiet question of what's next. Amy, what are a few practical ways to manage that energy and lighten that load day to day?
So it just reminded me of this woman named Estelle Phillips. I had a group of 90-years. We got together every month, and I asked her, what's the secret to happiness? And she says, lower your expectations.
Amen.
And that is the first thing I thought about, when I think about being 70, like you can make it really worse. You can make that mental load worse by thinking, I'm not driving and my friend is driving. She's doing this and I'm not doing that. I've got the load of laundry, I got the meal, I got all these things that I'm not doing, and it makes you feel heavier. So let some things go.
We spend our lifetime comparing ourselves to others and other people's ability. And I love that you brought that in because it doesn't change as we age. And so there is that, well, they're 96 and they're still driving. And I had to give up my license at 83. Okay, were you safe and are they safe? That's all I asked for. We're not looking, but there's so many more appointments. There's so much more to remember. People don't realize just how complex an aged person's life becomes. You think, okay, they've retired and they're just shooting rainbows and bubbles and life's all fairy dust, and it's not. It's got appointments, and it's got this hurts, and it's got this pill, and it's got this kid's doing
look
this.
At it like you have all these tabs on the computer open.
Yeah.
So now you're slowing down. That's what I do.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, all the tabs are open, but the computer's processing speed is slower.
It's an older computer. It's an older processor. I like that.
Well, it's so frustrating because older adults are very tightly scheduled, and then they are dealing with systems that aren't really responsive sometimes. It's very difficult to get their appointments, to be treated respectfully, and just navigating everything is so complex. That's actually what drew me into this is I could see our real estate clients really struggling with how to navigate through everything. So I thought, I want to learn more about Medicare and all the complexities of aging. And then I just got sucked all the way in.
It's huge.
Sucked all the way in. And
Yeah,
you know, people deal with, I feel invisible, and they're just busy doing all these things that people don't necessarily see.
Well, the world changed and forgot the people that built it for them.
Yeah.
You know, everything's an automation. Everything's a phone call. You can't even walk into a fast food restaurant anymore and talk to a human. You have to go up, and I'm like, how do I keep it without pickles? So can you know, just trying to get a doctor's appointment and going through, and I've got to press 9 to talk to a human, and then that human's never there. So signing up for Social Security, you have to be able to be on a computer.
Yeah.
So we've kind of forgotten. So it's like we have to have people that can step in and help.
We used to have that adaptability, but you know, as you get older, you start to lose that adaptability. You don't adapt as well.
Right.
You don't adapt, and you miss the spiritual opportunity, really, just to be so much more intentional about where you're going to put your energy. You don't have the energy you had 20 years ago. So where am I going to put it? Am I going to put it at my granddaughter's concert? Or am I going to put it at doing a load of laundry? Well, I know what I'd pick.
I'm going to my granddaughter's concert.
Absolutely.
While the washing machine washes at home.
It's a very fast-paced world. There's a lot going on. But the more you can stay into positivity, adaptability, and resourcefulness, the better it's going to be.
Coming up, kids with complex medical needs take center stage with cheers, signs, and a course built for joy.
We want to take the inspiration they give us and celebrate them and share it with the world.
We'll introduce you to the rain dancers and the mom who started it all. Up next, Mayo Clinic doctors are using AI to measure your heart age, and it could be older than you are.
It doesn't take long.
We'll show you the simple lifestyle changes that can start closing that gap in as little as a week.
Welcome back. The saying goes, you're only as young as you feel. But can your body be older than you look? Reporter Viv Williams looks at how artificial intelligence is helping Mayo Clinic experts measure heart age and what you can do to close the gap.
What is it about those people who look like they're in their 40s but are actually much older? Maybe they just have good genes. Well, that could be. But the myth is, if you're not one of those people, you just have to live with it. Well, experts from Mayo Clinic debunk that myth by comparing people's real age to their heart age. They use artificial intelligence to analyze echocardiograms, or ECGs, to determine how old someone is according to the health of their heart. The researchers then compare that number to the real chronological age of their patient.
When the computer is telling us that this individual is older than what this individual truly is in terms of years of age, we have seen that those individuals die sooner.
Dr. Francisco Lopez Jimenez, a Mayo Clinic preventive cardiologist, says that, on the other hand, if the technology determines someone's heart is younger than their chronological age,
those individuals live longer and have less heart attacks and less heart events of any type.
So what should you do if you find out your heart age is actually older than your real age? Well, Dr. Lopez Jimenez says you can narrow or even eliminate that gap by making some lifestyle changes.
It doesn't take long.
Lopez Jimenez says you can make a difference in as little as a week.
What we are doing these days is to use this information to motivate people to change behavior, to exercise more, to stop smoking, to worry less, to work on their stress level.
Lopez Jimenez says by working on those factors, you can reduce the age of your heart and improve overall health.
I have an uncle, he used to always say, change behavior requires circumstance.
Okay.
And I thought that is so deep.
Okay.
That's true. So that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing what your heart age is. And there's a lot of tests out here. They'll show biological age, and they test it based off of different parameters. Some of them are looking at inflammation.
Yes.
And the immune system as to how much you're aging. A lot of them give you your biological age and your chronological age. And so I look at it when I see people that say, man, he was so young. He just dropped dead at age 50. Now I understand his chronological age
was 80.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, but we have the testing now to know. Not only can we look at the age here, we also have testing that tells us about different organs and how they're going to age and the pace. So it just gives us a nice way to intervene.
Right.
Yeah.
And genetics play a part, but lifestyle plays a huge part as well.
Yeah, I loved it when they said it only takes a week. I thought that made me feel so hopeful. Like it doesn't, you're not looking at it felt so much like underwhelming.
I think it depends on what all the other factors you have going on, though, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
There's a lot of people that think it's just too late to make a change.
Right, and it's not.
It's never too late.
Next, one little girl's spirit is still changing lives and inspiring today's rain dancers.
There's nothing like a rain dancer. They will teach you how to be brave and courageous and resilient and smile even when it's hard.
We'll show you how her mom turned grief into a celebration for families.
You've probably heard this line, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain. Now, one mom is living that message, carrying on her daughter's legacy by lifting up kids facing serious medical challenges. Deborah Alfarone is in Virginia and shares more on the Sweet Julia Grace Foundation.
In this field in Virginia, hundreds came to cheer on children on a sprawling course with no time limit nor joy limit.
It's such an honor to come inside of a family's inner circle and grieve with them, celebrate with them, have good days with them, be there for the hard days, and all because Julia connected us to him.
This is Julia. Without her spirit, this celebration for children with complex medical needs wouldn't exist.
Sweet Julia Grace is my daughter. My husband and I had a beautiful little girl named Julia who passed away in 2013. We wanted to be able to come alongside families like ours and help families dance in the rain, just like she taught us to do.
How did she teach you to do that?
Life is hard sometimes, and but if you get caught up in the hard part, you'll miss it. Julia was 12 when she passed away, and she had a lot of beautiful days, but she had a lot of hard days. But even in the hard days, she smiled, and she wanted us to be by her side, and she was loving and loved us. She taught us to just dance in the rain in the midst of all the storms.
That's why every child here is called a rain dancer.
It's a day to celebrate no one here takes for granted. Sarah says the Sweet Julia Grace Foundation has helped about 400 families living in Virginia and West Virginia. They do it in many ways. They provide care packages to children and families at hospitals and grant wishes to rain dancers. John McGraw is one of them.
They changed my life forever because I told my parents after we dropped off my older brother at Virginia Tech that my dream was to go to Virginia Tech, and they told me, okay, well, we need to strive to make you as independent as possible for you to go to college by yourself. They came over and, what can we do for you? And we said, well, we need a handicapped accessible bathroom. The first time where we realized, whoa, this is a dream that can be realized.
John is now a sophomore at Virginia Tech, inspiring and rooting for the next generation of rain dancers.
We want to take the inspiration they give us and celebrate them and share it with the world.
And that's a message we can all get behind, learning to dance in the rain together.
They will teach you how to be brave and courageous and resilient and smile even when it's hard. There's nothing like a rain dancer.
Talk about turning pain to purpose.
I know.
And I hope that I could be that strong to turn that kind of pain into a purpose.
I know.
I think of the words of Dr. Maya Angelou. She used to always say, never let the light dim that shines from within.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
And that's what they're giving.
Yeah.
They're giving, you know, the young man to go to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
You know, he had that light. And
Right. It started with that step of making the bathroom accessible, like that he could really see that this is possible,
Yeah.
and the value of having hope, and then all that emotional support. You can really underestimate how much energy and help and it lifts you up to accomplish these things, that no one should have to do that alone.
Yeah. And the reality is we're not alone. We just oftentimes feel alone in our own misery.
But it's a lot easier also for them to say, hey, I know what you feel.
Yeah.
You know, so that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And
Right.
We are meant to be in community and be social, and that's why, because you really make a difference for others, which helps you heal.
Yeah.
It's
like when they say, I know how you feel, you can take it because they're telling the truth.
Exactly.
And someone else that's not going through that doesn't have the ability to give you that much.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. We're all getting older, so it's about time we talk about it. Until next time on Aging Untold.
On the next Aging Untold, a different approach to saying goodbye.
I was reading about a mushroom suit that you can be buried in.
Why green burials are becoming part of the conversation for some families, and how to determine if it's the right choice for you.